So this is our 24th class. This class is very special. This is Science and Technology news from March month. But I have selected only two topics. Supreme Court removes the ban on cryptocurrencies, and the second topic is in flight. That means inside the flight you can use the Wi-Fi now. Both of these things are very conceptual. How does Wi-Fi works in flight and how does cryptocurrency works? This is a very old topic, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and everything. But I think this is always relevant for your prelims examination, that how does this blockchain technology behind the cryptocurrency, how does that technology works? Because that technology is now being adopted in various sectors, finance, economy, education, everywhere. So in this lecture, I will be focusing on the conceptual part of cryptocurrencies, how do they work and what is the mechanism behind and how it is very difficult for any central bank to regulate the cryptocurrency, and what are the benefits of this blockchain technology and side effects also. In-flight Wi-Fi, again I will be explaining you everything about the Wi-Fi and how does Wi-Fi will be working in, how will Wi-Fi will be working in flight services. But first of all, let's have some introduction. What has happened that Supreme Court has struck down a ban. That ban was put down by RBI. That ban was put by RBI. RBI said that in India, trading of virtual currencies will not be allowed. But it was very problematic. Directly, cryptocurrency was not banned. The trading of virtual currencies was banned. What is the difference between cryptocurrency and virtual currency? Virtual currency can be anything which you can't see and can't touch and everything. That means that doesn't include digital currency anyway, because digital currency anyway has a solid base behind. Okay, anytime you can convert into solid currency that you can touch, but these virtual currencies cannot be touched and seen. So in that category, cryptocurrency is also a virtual currency. So RBI had put a ban that no trading will be allowed in India of virtual currencies. So by default that banned your Bitcoin also. Bitcoin is a type of cryptocurrency or virtual currency. There are others also. This was done by RBI in April 2018. Now many trading companies of cryptocurrencies, they went to the Supreme Court, did a writ petition actually, that this is against the trading freedom of fundamental rights. Supreme Court said that yes, this is, and Supreme Court said that even RBI did not say any negative effects of like any security problems of the country directly. And also RBI did not ban the cryptocurrency itself. They just banned the trading. So Supreme Court said that this decision was wrong and not proportionate. So RBI cannot ban cryptocurrency trade. See, adverse impact or harm done by the activities of these virtual currencies, RBI could not find any. So some examples of cryptocurrencies. The popular one, you already know, Bitcoin. Very people are coming on Telegram and messaging, do you want Bitcoin? Anyway, Ethereum. These all cryptocurrencies have a technology behind, that is blockchain technology. I will be explaining you what is blockchain technology, and also because they operate on blockchain technology, they are virtual currencies. Any central bank is not able to regulate them and they are independent of the central bank. Virtual currencies include cryptocurrencies, I had already told you. So everything will not be written on slide today because I am going to explain everything. Please listen carefully. First of all, what is cryptocurrency? If someone asks for a definition, what will you say? Understand that there is no fixed definition of cryptocurrency, but normally you can say that any currency or type of currency or digital currency, it is a type of digital currency only, that uses cryptography for the purposes of its security and anti-counterfeiting measures. Some cryptography, some encryption is used that you cannot crack the code easily. That is cryptocurrency type of digital currency. This is not issued by your central bank, central authority, and that is why central banks governance or interference or regulation, the cryptocurrency is immune to that. Now who owns the cryptocurrency? There is no single owner of the cryptocurrency. It will be created by technology, by hard work of computer and everything, very hi-fi computers, supercomputers like things, and there will be a ledger created. Ledger means account, like every step some ownership will be added. So this is not centralized somewhere, this is distributed mechanism, and that distributed ledger technology is only called as blockchain technology. By understanding this much, we can understand the benefits of cryptocurrency. Cryptography is involved, so counterfeiting will not happen, just like physical currency. There will be no transaction fees. cryptocurrency is exchanged, okay, and the miners mine it. This is not like physical mining, computer mining, and large amount of time is taken. So this, there is no transaction fees involved, this is just exchanged. So who does compensate the miners? Those people who are working hard and generating cryptocurrency. How do they get the compensation? The network only. This ledger technology, the blockchain technology network only compensates them for it. The mechanism, the coding is involved. And what are the benefits of the customer? Customer's benefit is that you will not be depending on rupees only. You will have multiple currencies option. Also, the good benefit of blockchain technology is that this technology is really very good. It can be included in your financial system transaction. Suppose I transfer you some money, you transfer that money to someone, that money transfer to someone, and suppose I transferred you black money. Now through blockchain technology, government will know that how the transfer was done, how much cut I had taken, how much cut you had taken, at what location, at what position the money was added. Everything from bottom to top, or you can say one side to another side, you will know about the networking of this financial system through blockchain technology. Now this infographic actually explains how does blockchain work. Suppose you request a transaction. You are not requesting money, you request a transaction, okay? So your request will be sent to the network, and that network is what? People to people network. People to people network. Other people are collaborating in this cryptocurrency blockchain. In that network your request will go. And then what is that P2P network? It consists of computers such as nodes. See these computers. So here your request will go. Now the request will not forward without validation. There will be validation. The network nodes validate the transaction and users a status using known algorithms. These are computer terms, you need not know that, but your validation will be done of the request. Now if the validation is right and your request is right, then a verified transaction can involve cryptocurrency contracts, records, or other information. Once verified, the transaction is combined with the other transactions to create a new block of data for ledger. See, these gray ones were the previous transaction. Understand that. The new transaction is added over that. So the overall transaction has the data of the previous transaction also, the new transaction also. This is called ledger technology. A ledger is created at every step. See, all the transactions are present here. So anybody can see, the network operator obviously can see all these transactions. Also, this is permanent and unalterable. You cannot edit any one of them. Then the transaction is completed. This is a blockchain technology. Now you understand, in accounts and financial system, economic system, everywhere, this particular step, the ledger step, can be created, and that will help in transparency of the system, and counterfeiting will be reduced. This whole system is like a spreadsheet in the Excel, Microsoft. This is shared publicly. This is automated system. This is very secure. This is trusted, and this is a decentralized system. Because see, there is no central authority. On P2P network only it will be working. That is why this is decentralized system. Safe, you know already, because the database is immutable. You cannot alter anything. Irreversible. Once the transaction happens, that cannot be reversed. Even the operators of the database cannot tamper with the data. That is so much security. And also this is automated. So self-sustaining system. No operator will be required to maneuver it all the time, monitor it all the time. And this shared publicly thing, that transparency, because anyone can see this transaction, overall transaction. So transparency and trust in the system. But then we also need to understand, why did RBI try to ban it? RBI first of all thinks about financial stability. They say that there is no underlying fiat. First, I told you, right, digital currency also in India, the card and everything have an underlying fiat, okay, real money. So there is no underlying fiat, nothing substantial. And excessive volatility. Anytime we have seen already that cryptocurrency initially came in crores and crores, then the prices decreased, then increasing again, lots of volatility. That will lead to some negative effect on financial stability. Then there is problem of investor protection and security risk also. There can be theft of cryptocurrencies from exchange source. In the first half of this year, it has happened already that some people had their cryptocurrencies from the exchange are stolen. Then everything is online, so you always have a risk of cyber security. You always have a risk of data protection. One big problem is that the whole thing is cryptocurrency, the cryptography. A lot of money is being used in drugs, narcotics, and your terrorist activity, just smuggling, everything is being done in cryptocurrencies only, because this system is not controlled by RBI or any central bank. So all those bad transactions, illegal transactions are most of the time happening in cryptocurrencies. There is a lot of anonymity involved. In fact, China also has banned the cryptocurrencies. Now next topic is very important to you and useful to you also. This topic is about in-flight Wi-Fi. What has happened is that your union government recently issued a notification and said that now airlines operating in India can provide in-flight Wi-Fi services to its passengers. Previously, you remember, your Wi-Fi switching on through the flight was not allowed, but now it is allowed. Not during the takeoff, not during the landing, but inside the flight. Otherwise, it can be allowed if they get the permission. If that aircraft gets the permission from DGCA. So this is the news. First of all, we will know the news and what is the government's condition and policy. Then we will see how Wi-Fi actually will be working in flight. See, first of all, your Civil Aviation Ministry said that now it is allowed, but we are putting some conditions. What are those conditions? One condition is that the person responsible, the authority responsible for switching on or switch off of the Wi-Fi will be the main captain flying the aircraft. He will say that now it is allowed or now it is not allowed. The captain will also follow some guidelines given by the DGC and everything. So, for example, one guideline is that during the takeoff, you can't use the Wi-Fi. During the landing also, you cannot use the Wi-Fi. See, Wi-Fi would be switched on only when the plane is at the cruising speed, that means a stable speed, and not during the takeoff or landing. That time it can create some. First of all, why this was banned on? Why this is banned actually? This is suppose that the Wi-Fi signals will interfere with the radar system. If they interfere with the radar system, there will be problem in communication and positioning of the flight by the radar system. But once on the cruising speed, it is supposed that it will not be actually interfering. So now the government has come with this guideline. Also, every plane using this Wi-Fi technology will have to get a certification from DGCA, Directorate General of Civil Aviation. You all know what is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi actually means wireless fidelity. Wireless fidelity. It is a radio transmission technology. The Wi-Fi is a radio transmission technology. And what is the typical range? Typical range of Wi-Fi network is 100 meters in the open air. Typical range, that is 100 meters in the open air. You could see sometimes that you have switched on your Wi-Fi router. You went down below you went to the shop, and there you were catching the Wi-Fi signal. So typical range is 100 meter if this is not interfered by wall and concrete. One important thing you should remember, that the transmission of frequency, the frequency of the Wi-Fi is generally 2.4 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz. That is, the range is 2.4 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz. Now comes the main topic, that how this in-flight Wi-Fi will work. See, there are two operating systems for airplane Wi-Fi. I will show you the image. See, airplane Wi-Fi can work through two techniques. One is through satellite. Two different ways Wi-Fi works on an airplane. One is through satellite. For satellite, the transmission of data will happen and flights will have an antenna here. Okay, so this is how satellite to airplane communication happens through Wi-Fi. Second is this, through ground-based antenna. Through ground-based antenna, air to ground connectivity, and this one is air to air connectivity only. So these are the two mechanisms of Wi-Fi working on the airplane. First we will discuss this ground-based, and first we will discuss this air to ground Wi-Fi, how that is working. This is just like your cell phone. You see this antenna? This antenna will be connected to this antenna, the ground-based antenna. Now the confusion arises, but this is going forward. This antenna's range will go down. So what? Another antenna will come. Everywhere we have the network connectivity, and when there is no antenna, the network connectivity will not happen. So, but now the confusion arises that you are having mobile in your hand here. You are not connected to the antenna. No, this antenna for you will be working as a hotspot. You will be connecting to flight's hotspot, and that flight's hotspot will be connected to the ground-based antenna on a rolling basis. So the new antenna will come, it will roll to this network. New antenna will come, this will roll to this network. Just like you travel in train, but in train you do not have the hotspot like the flight system. Okay, because your own mobile's range will not go here, right? So you need to connect with the antenna of the flight first. That will be working as a hotspot. And yes, you will be losing your network a lot of times because flights generally travel over the terrain which are of forest and mountains and everything, so you will be losing your connection many times. See, it says it very beautifully. This system cannot work when the plane is flying over large expanse of water like transatlantic ocean routes. You cannot connect to internet by ground based antenna at that time. And now that is why the satellite system communication is more important. Satellites are everywhere. System is again the same. The plane uses whichever satellite is nearest to its travel, and the data will go between plane and satellite will be connected to the ground antenna, and your communication will be completed. Satellite Wi-Fi operates on two different bandwidths. One is narrow and second is broadband. So you understand now? Next time you travel in flight, if that flight is permitted to operate Wi-Fi, you will switch on your Wi-Fi, you will connect with the plane's hotspot. Through that you will get the internet, and plane's hotspot will either be connected to the ground-based antenna, otherwise it will be connected to the satellite, and satellite necessarily will be connected to the flight's hotspot and also the ground-based antenna, because everything cannot happen in universe. Satellite antenna anyway have to communicate with the ground-based, earth-based antenna. So I will keep this science and technology videos a little short. Next time we meet, we will see some other topics like sunspot cycle and everything in the next lecture about the science and technology thing. Also, after completing science and technology in some time, we will go to environment section, and then we can start the June month current affairs. In between we have this May month current affairs related to polity left. We will be doing it anywhere somewhere in between. That's all. Thank you.